So if we look at the standard, you can see here that 1508 is what's known as the umbrella standard. This is the umbrella safety standard for different sectors. And then we have the IEC 61511, which is primarily for the process sector, which governs oil and gas, chemical, pharmaceutical, and food and beverage. So all of that is covered under 1511. Then there's the nuclear sector standard. There's the machinery sector standard, and now the new one to add to that is the automotive, the 26262. The primary difference, and this is an important thing to remember, the primary difference between these standards and the older standards, the DIN VDE 0801, is that these standards are performance-based, whereas the old standards are prescriptive. So what does that mean? Well, a prescriptive standard says this is what you have to do and this is how you do it. There's no middle ground, there's no leeway. This is what you have to do and this is how you do it, as in that class 3. With a performance-based standard, on the other hand, it says this is what you have to do, but how you do it is up to you. The only thing you have to do is you have to have appropriate metrics in place so that you can demonstrate and be able to measure that your performance from your design meets your target. So that's the difference. And with a performance-based standard, it allows you to utilize technology and things that you've learned through operational experience. However, we have to have key metrics that we can use to determine whether what we've designed and implemented will work according to the requirement. So 1508, as I said, 1508 targets suppliers. These are the manufacturers. So these manufacturers have devices that have gone through this assessment. Now, part of the certification assessment is to look very specifically at knowledge, capability, competency, and then how the product has been designed. There was a proper requirement specification, it was properly reviewed, the testing was done correctly, all the test evidence and the logs are there, they're following their processes and procedures, they have a proper quality system in place, they have functional safety management, and they're following that. So all of that's assessed. And then again, of course, the higher the SIL claim, the much more stringent the investigation has to be to prove that we've not introduced any potential systematic faults. From the end user's point of view, we should be using devices that have been certified, but for end users, typically we don't certify the end users. Now, with engineering companies, we can actually look at their processes and procedures to see how compliant they are with 1511, and then there can be a certificate of compliance for that. But for the end users, we only have the ability to do functional safety assessments and functional safety audits. And those two are very different, and I'll talk about those a bit later on. So, 1511, we need to have metrics. We need to be able to measure performance. We need to be able to prove that the performance is being followed. So these are important things. Like I said earlier, when you look at the older design, the prescriptive design, as we said, that's front end is a wasteful over design and the back end is a dangerous under design. But that was the class 3 requirement back then in the early 90s. Now we know different.